All right, guys, Mark with a C here. Let me just start off by saying rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. My God, I never thought when I woke up this morning I would be ending my day by saying rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. But then that's life, isn't it? We don't really know when we really think about it. We don't know when we get up in the morning what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen to us. We don't know what's going to happen to our friends, our loved ones. Nothing is promised. This is the reason why life is a miracle. Life matters. Life counts. And we need to be aware of that. We need to live it to the fullest, man, because it's a miracle. Every single moment, every single second. And now Charlie Kirk is no longer with us at the age of 31, dying by an assassin's bullet in front of his family. At 31 years old, he had a ton of life left to live. So much potential he had. Whether you agree with him or not, I see people out here dancing, spitting on this man's grave just as I seen them do for Kevin Samuels when he passed away, a YouTube personality. Also, David Carroll, some of you might remember him, YouTube personality. It seems that if people don't agree with you, or if you say something that offends you, then you're worthy of a death sentence. And people completely lose their minds. They lose all sense of decency and they don't realize anything could happen to any of us because we're all opinionated. We all speak our minds to some degree. We all have disagreements. That doesn't mean that we deserve to die. What is happening to people out here? And I began the day wondering that because we're still reeling from the brutal, murderous stabbing of the Ukrainian woman in Charlotte. And I started the day being really, really concerned about that because obviously she was murdered by a black man. And, race issues being what they are in America, the internet is on fire. People are on fire. Black people are a problem. Black men are a problem. I was worried. I began my day worried about my son. This is going to be relevant later. I'm not trying to make this about that or about race or whatever, but these are practical concerns, guys, because we are being way too irresponsible with our great country. This is America, man. This is not some other country, some other place. This is our home. This is where we live. We live and work together. But I began my day that way. And somewhere in the middle of the day, I saw a tweet from Candace Owens saying, "Stop whatever you're doing and pray for Charlie Kirk." And when I looked around, I found out that he had been shot. I couldn't believe it. I thought maybe it was fake, maybe it was phony, but it wasn't. And when I saw that horrific video, I pretty much knew he wasn't going to make it, man. I'm not saying go look at the video at all, but it's all over the place. And when you see it, it pretty much looks like he was dead on the spot. There was no way he was going to live through that, or if he did, it would have been a miracle and he would have been something of a god. You know what I mean? If he had gotten through that. But unfortunately, it was not meant to be. And President Trump made the announcement that Charlie Kirk had passed away. Now, I want to read a little bit about Charlie Kirk for some of you who might know about him in passing or may know nothing about him. Let's get into this a little bit, guys. Let me read something off of the BBC.com here, and I will continue my commentary. So you see here, it says, Charlie Kirk, uh, conservative influencer who rallied a youth movement. Charlie Kirk was one of the highest profile conservative activists and media personalities in the US and a trusted ally of President Donald Trump. He was shot dead on Wednesday at the age of 31, man. 31. I can't wrap my mind around that, guys. No one deserves to die for what he says. No one deserves to die that young with so much going on, a young family. But he was shot dead on Wednesday at the age of 31 while hosting a college event for Turning Point USA, the organization he co-founded in what police are calling a targeted shooting. President Donald Trump announced Kirk's stunning news, paying tribute on Truth Social. The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. And I've seen a couple of his videos. He was very charismatic. He was very intelligent. Um, like I said before, whether or not I agreed with every point that he made is totally irrelevant. I did respect him as a thinker, as someone who challenged others to think. That's what we need in this world. We need more of that. Turning Point, which he started at age 18, aimed to spread conservative ideals at liberal-leaning U.S. colleges. The event on Wednesday at Utah Valley University, where he was gunned down, was the kickoff of a multi-campus Turning Point tour, during which attendees were invited to debate Kirk about similar issues. His social media and eponymous daily podcast often offer clips of him debating with students about issues like transgender identity, climate change, faith, and family values. A clip of Trump himself plays at the beginning of Kirk's podcast. I want to thank Charlie. He's an incredible guy. His spirit, his love of this country. He's done an amazing job building one of the most powerful youth organizations ever created. The nonprofit, a large part of his legacy, began after President Barack Obama was reelected in 2012. Its mission aimed at young people is to organize students to promote the principles of fiscal responsibility, free markets, and limited government. It now has chapters in more than 850 colleges. It played a key role in the Get Out the Vote effort for Trump and other Republican candidates in last year's election. The millennial was credited widely with helping to register tens of thousands of new voters and flipping Arizona for Trump. The relationship between Kirk and Trump grew after Trump's victory, with Kirk attending Trump's inauguration in January in Washington, D.C., and becoming a regular visitor at the White House during both Trump terms in office. Now, earlier this year, he traveled with Trump's son, Donald Jr., to Greenland, as the then incoming president was arguing that the U.S. should own the Arctic territory. He was the son of an architect who grew up in the well-to-do Chicago suburb of Prospect Heights. Kirk attended a community college near Chicago before dropping out to devote himself to political activism. He unsuccessfully applied for West Point, the elite U.S. military academy, and often referred tongue-in-cheek to his lack of a college degree when engaging in debates with students and academics on esoteric topics such as postmodernism. In fact, he was an avid public speaker, touring the country speaking at Republican events, many popular, many popular with members of the ultra-conservative Tea Party movement. And his daily conservative talk radio show had millions of followers on social media. Kirk addressed the Oxford Union earlier this year, and in 2020 wrote a bestseller, The MAGA Doctrine, a reference to Trump's Make America Great Again campaign, but his evangelical Christianity and his family. Uh, he married a former Miss Arizona, not bad, with whom he had two children, were front and center in his politics, and he was seen as both the future of conservative activism as well as a highly polarizing figure. It talks about how gun control was among his numerous political and social issues. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. He spread anti-transgender views and skepticism over the COVID-19 pandemic. All right, my kind of guy. And also publicly promoted the false claim that the 2020 election was stolen from Trump. Okay. All right. So his entire project was built on reaching across the divide and using speech, not violence, to address and resolve the issues. William Wolf, executive director of the Center for Baptist Leadership, posted on X. All right. So there you have it, guys. And here he is, with his family. All right. Beautiful family that it is. That's his wife. It looks like it's a son and a daughter. Very young family. I mean, it's sad, man. It's just so sad. And let me just say this, guys. This environment that we're in right now is so damn volatile. I just told a friend earlier today, I feel like America is hanging on by a string. We are so irresponsible with how we treat each other, what we say online, how we regard each other. I swear to God, guys, I believe that the media is is the most destructive force that we've seen in this country probably since ever. You know what I mean? Like I really do think that the way the news media and social media, is constructed, it's destructive. You know, it tears us down. It makes us hate each other. It destroys all sense of brotherhood and sisterhood and community. We feel that we can say anything to and about each other. You know, when you have these uh, left-leaning media outlets publicly calling for these people to be dealt with, like they try to be very vague about it, but they're saying it. You know what I mean? Like they're calling for violence, but then when violence happens, they sit back and they say, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. You know, that's how I was feeling, to bring it full circle about what was going on leading up to this, where it seems like everyone is turning to Black people and looking at the stats about Black violence and everything, and stopping short of saying that we should all be wiped out, you know? And it just feels bad for America to have this overall energy. It's a very, very negative, evil, demonic energy that has you turn against your fellow human being, regardless of race, regardless of sex, or anything like that, you know? But we dive in head first. And when you do that, lives inevitably will be lost. People will be hurt. People will be in danger. Children will be in danger. We really need to reel this in, man. Like I said, I don't want to harp too much on the race thing, but look, these are my concerns. Let me ask you guys something. You can tell me in the comment section. If the shooter, and they claim that they have the shooter in custody, if the shooter turned out to be Black after all we've been going through, be honest with me, guys. What do you think would happen? What do you think would happen if the shooter, the murderer, the killer of Charlie Kirk, after all the things that's happened this week, turned out to be Black, a Black man? That's how close we get to all out fucking hell in this country. We need to learn from things like this. As tragic as it is, we have to make it count for something. That man had a voice that should have been protected in this country. The Ukrainian woman should have been protected in this country. What is going on when people can be losing their lives? Just being, just existing at such a rate. It's wrong. And I wanted to get on here to talk about that because, like I said, no matter what we do, people keep falling back on this kill each other thing, you know? And yeah, I can say kill, I can say assassin. I see some people afraid to use these words. You know what? That's where we went wrong. I hate when I hear people say the N word. No, I'm not talking about nigger. I'm just saying the N word. I hate when people say the N word because we're dancing around something as if it's something so terrible that you just can't speak it in a country where we do have freedom of speech. It makes people ultra um, sensitive, I think. Whereas people will now choke you out for saying the word nigger. I think that's what the guy on the train said to Carlos Brown or whatever his name was. Oh, you should call me a nigger. I think that's what he said. I don't know. People act like that gives you a pass to do whatever you got to do or whatever you want to do. It doesn't. But I think we are so ultra sensitive because we're on here watching our words. We're tiptoeing around things. We can't enunciate anything. We can't articulate anything. It's wrong. So when people say things that you don't like Charlie Kirk, you got these people who actually are celebrating him being dead. And that's evil. That's demonic. That is wrong. And that is scary as shit, man. But here we are. Well, I know what I get from this, but it's how I've always felt, you know? I've always felt like this world, this country is a glass house, and we should be more careful about the stones that we throw. Anyway, guys, once again, I want to say rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. I want to send my condolences out to now his widow, his family, his children, his friends. And God bless all of us, man. May God have mercy on all of us because this can't go on. All right, guys. That's it. Don't be afraid to pray. Don't be afraid to pray. This is the gospel according to Mark with a C. Rock on.